Hi everyone, my name is Hadel-Lynn. It's been about 6 months since I got jabbed in my right arm for both doses of Pfizer. I feel like there hasn't been enough videos out there about the follow-ups regarding getting just the vaccine or just Pfizer in general, and so I want to open up that conversation. Hopefully sharing my experiences and being honest as possible about the experience can hopefully encourage more people to get vaccinated. And so that, let's get started. So luckily, I haven't had COVID at all with that throughout the whole experience. I have not had COVID previous to the vaccine. I haven't had it during the vaccine, and I certainly have not had it afterwards. Have there been some close calls? Definitely, but I've been very grateful and honestly very blessed that I have not been exposed to COVID or actually any other illnesses for the very matter. I still wear my mask whenever I'm like in an area that's indoors and just like high capacity, even if it's outdoors and like high capacity, just because I personally don't feel comfortable. It's just a matter of like comfort for me. But however, if I'm outside and it's like more evenly spaced out, like with people and whatnot, it's not crowded, then I feel more comfortable not wearing it. Me going out to really large events is actually, even pre COVID, that wasn't something I really did too much. I would describe myself as an introverted extrovert where, like, I love people, but, like, it takes a lot of energy from me if I spend a lot of time with people where, like, say, like, if I wanted to go out with some friends, like, to go, go out somewhere, I'm gonna need like a month of recovery of being like alone or like less amount of people so that I can just recover fine. So, cabin fever just wasn't a thing for me. I enjoyed being at home. I still enjoy being at home. It's nice. And it allowed me to focus more on, developing the relationships with people that quite frankly like I cared more about, just strengthening those bonds. But in terms of like restaurants when they're indoors, they still continue to evenly space it out. I feel like a little bit more comfortable about if it's just like really large, like concerts. If it's like an indoor setting, then I'm like, I don't want to do it. But if it's outdoors and like obviously COVID, vaccination procedures and like spacing out procedures are being followed, I'm a little bit more like okay with it. It's still a little bit like on the fence for me, but I feel like a little teensy bit more okay. 257 Hmm. Even if they did, I feel like they'd be really bored with me. Like I don't live a very exciting life. I'm really sorry to say. I literally go work, home, Target. Love Target. Oh my god. And Haymarket. I feel like those are like my top four locations. And so if someone is tracking me, I'm sure they'd be very bored with my day to day life. They'd be like, oh, she's home again, just watching Netflix. Ugh, so boring. I feel like even if they are tracking me, I feel like there's just way more accurate versions to do that. Like, like your browsing history, social security number, tax information, your public housing records. Let's see what else, birth certificates, you know, passports. Oh, and let's see, like the location settings, like on your phone, whenever you activate that. Oh, but wait, they already do that. If you're an adult and you choose, not to take the vaccine, that's your choice alone. I'm not a medical provider. I'm not your medical provider, especially. But I want you to consider what level is being right more important than, your loved ones. Say, kids right now, I believe kids in the US that are under 12 years old, they can't get vaccinated. And so basically right now, they don't have as much immunity to like compared to adults who are fully vaccinated from it. So would I guess the question is like, would you be willing to bury your own child, your own parent, your own friend, or worse, be the reason that someone else has to bury their loved ones? You know, that's a decision that you want to make for yourself, but do you really want to drag down other people with you? I guess is the more important question, because frankly, if you did, you did. There's no coming back from it. And so you have to really think about it. There are certain consequences in life that you can never take back. And is losing someone in your life really worth that risk? If it does, say like you're not vaccinated and you never get sick, great. But what happens if you do? Someone else does. Is that a risk you're really willing to take? And that's the decision you have to make on your own. I can't do that for you. Ones who say that COVID can't be that bad because they've had it before, this message is more directed towards you. Even if you're fine now, there is still more research to be done on whether or not there are some long-term complications. And I'm going to bring in the example of when smoking cigarettes and tobacco was a big thing in the US. Everyone thought it was cool, it was projected and basically advertised as this popular thing. And when you're young, you do stupid stuff. And so there are a lot of young people at the time who were smoking cigarettes, cigars, etc., etc. And now, there's more research as these people become older that there have been exposed more, there's more likelihood of certain conditions like pneumonia, COPD, throat, lung cancer, stuff like that. So, you may be fine now, but way down the road, you might not. Comments that like, oh, it's not that bad is kind of like a slap in the face to, mothers who have lost their children, parents who have had to bury their own kids due to this virus. People who've had to bury their loved ones who couldn't even go to the funerals actually of their loved ones because of this virus. And so, if you did well and you talked about your recovery, that's great. But, I really urge you to reconsider saying that it's not that bad because, you may have lived to tell the tale, but the chances are not everyone did. And so out of respect for them, really think about that. A lot of people have been going on it from an ethical standpoint. I kind of want to do a more interesting twist and talk about it from a financial standpoint. So, a lot of people know health is wealth. If you're healthy, you get to live a longer life. If the cost of getting jabbed in the arm is $0 so free. Now, if you don't want that, that's okay, that's up to you. However, the cost of you getting sick is actually more expensive. Prevention is way more cost effective than treatment. Say that you get sick and you have to go to the ICU. In the US alone, even if you have insurance, I'm going to be very dark about it here, it can still cost thousands. And I'm not talking like $1,000 or $2,000, maybe like I've seen bills be like tens of thousands of dollars just for being in the ICU. And the costs that you still have, if you have insurance, there's out-of-pocket costs, and those out-of-pocket costs are determined by how many nights, how many days you have to stay in the ICU. If you have any comorbidities like that you have to worry about, such as lung issues, heart issues, other vital organs. And so that's really expensive compared to something Sure, that's $0 and 0 cents, and sure, there's not a 100% guarantee, but there's a higher chance of survival and higher chance of not going to the doctors compared to if you choose not to be vaccinated. You have a higher chance of being in the bed. Right now, the medical profession is basically exhausted mentally, physically. There's a lot of burnout going around, and to the point where there's regional shortages. And if you are admitted to the ICU, you are not the only patient. I'm sorry to say. And it's not like a 5-star resort. It's a hospital. You're going to be around other sick people. So even if you get better from COVID, you could catch something else because it's a hospital where people work with sick people. That's a risk you have to take. You could come have COVID, leave with something else. You really want that? Thank you so much to everyone who has, continued to watch my Pfizer series and who have watched this video. I hope you as a viewer feel a little bit more, I guess, educated about whatever decision you are to make. Again, I'm not a medical provider. The best person to answer that is your primary care physician, your primary care provider. I hope to see all y'all alive next time.